would you define good customer service?
Okay, so I feel that customer service as a term is a bit outdated, and the emphasis has shifted from just offering service to basically looking at the customer experience, looking at it from a 360 point of view. So when I say customer experience, I mean everything or every experience that the customer has when they're doing business with us, whatever interaction they're having with us. Because the outdated idea or the previous idea or the old idea was to say, oh, someone comes, buys something from us or does business with us, and then we offer service free during the service and after the service. But now, with the rise of social media, we see a lot of people do business on social media. We have the digital space as well. So how do we make the experience of the customer a wow experience across every customer touch point? Now, when I say touch point, I mean every aspect that the customer has to interact with you. It could be face to face, it could be over the phone, it could be via Instagram DM or X, or formerly Twitter DMs. It could be even on LinkedIn. So what is the experience? The idea is that every customer should be able to leave the interaction with you with a great experience. So that's why I said we're gradually moving from the shift for strictly customer service to now customer experience. It's a 360-degree thing. So we're looking at the whole customer journey and how we're able to enhance the experience for the customer.
Fantastic. 360-degree and enhancing the experience of customers. What you just said is in alignment to what Sam here just said. So how do you measure customer satisfaction then?
Okay, so because typically when I do trainings, I one of the questions I ask my participants is, treat the customer like your grandmother. Then I ask them, why do we say grandmother? Why not baby? Because the assumption is that it is babies that need the most care because they're young and they're fragile, right? So why do we say grandmother? And then they're in a bit of a dilemma. They're wondering, grandmother because she's old, grandmother because she's equally fragile. And then I tell them the difference between your baby and your grandmother is that your grandmother has sense. Let me put it that way. So if I were to offer a baby anything, the baby would not reject it. The baby will take it, especially if I'm the mother. Whatever I offer that baby, the baby is going to take it. But the difference between the baby and the mother, even though they are both fragile, is that the mother, the grandmother knows right from wrong, and she knows what is good and what is bad. So first and foremost, if you're not serving your customers well, if the experience is not great for them, they would immediately tell you. So you can walk away from that interaction, especially quite a number of customers will tell you instantly that they're not happy with the service, they're not happy with the experience that they've gotten. But if you find yourself in the unfortunate position, I say unfortunate position because I tell people that when a customer complains to you, they are giving you a gift. A complaint is a gift. It is the opportunity to make right the situation for that customer, win back that customer, turn them into a loyal customer and possibly a brand ambassador. And then that same customer can help you win other customers to the business. So it's a gift. So if you find yourself in the unfortunate position where the customer doesn't say anything about their levels of satisfaction and then they walk away without giving you any feedback, here are some ways that you can measure customer satisfaction. We have a couple of metrics. So the first thing you can do is to actively engage in surveys. So you do a customer feedback survey, and then you ask certain questions, and then you get the answers, and then you can analyze the data you get from those answers to let you know if your customers are actually satisfied. We also have something we call the NPS. It's called the Net Promoter Score. It's a score that tells us how willing a customer would be to recommend your business to someone else or to their friends and family. So customers with a high net promoter score, for instance, are more willing to promote your business to their networks and their circle of influence. We also look at the customer effort score. The customer effort score is the amount of activity that your customer would have to put into doing business with you, maybe navigating your website, your mobile apps, or even interacting with you over the phone or in person. So the higher the effort it is to do business with you, the less satisfied your customer is. So we have that. And then we have the CSAT, the customer satisfaction score. So these are all forms of metrics, forms of measurements, and nothing in customer service or nothing in the customer experience is done arbitrarily. It looks like, yeah, when you say psychology, it looks like there's things are being done, but there's a straight way to measure things in this space. And trust me, the data you get from these measurements can and will be used to better the experience for the customer.
Fantastic. You know, I was going to ask you talk a little bit about psychology, but you took the words right out of my mouth. So let me ask this next question. So you say that customer service is outdated. So I'll use customer experience. So what is the difference between customer experience and customer support? I was going to say
so when
customer service, but since it's now outdated, let's say customer experience and customer support.
Yes, customer experience and customer support. So support basically is the service you give to the customer before the purchase, during the purchase, and after the purchase. So that's the support you give to the customer before, during, and after. That's where it stops. But the experiences, we'll now start looking at things like your branding. Your branding adds to the experience. We look at your physical location. So how comfortable is your office, for instance, if you have a brick and mortar store? What's the layout of your brick and mortar store? How easy is it to navigate your brick and mortar store? That constitutes experience. What is your parking space like? There are some places in this Lagos that they're known for certain things. I'll give you an example. Computer Village, for instance. You know that if you want to get certain gadgets and devices and stuff like that, that's the best place to go to. But we know that in terms of parking, that place is a no-go area. So what are your facilities like? What is your website like? Do you have cases of abandoned carts? Like people come into your website and they have difficulty navigating your website because the user experience is not so great. So these are the things that constitute the experience, the user experience on your apps as well. Do we have to jump through so many hoops to be able to execute one single transaction on your app? What are your payment processes like? Are they easy? I tell people that the business who are killing it, who are making a killing are hinged or the leverage on two things: technology and convenience. Technology and convenience. So those are the things that form the experience for the customer. How easy is it to do business with you, especially in these days where people want it and they want it now? You know, so the attention span is really short. People want stuff to be done for them. They want that ease. They want that convenience. So how are you making all of this happen? So it's not just about I buy something from you and then 2 days later it's not working. I call you and I say, oh, it's not working. And I now jump to fix it. Like Mr. Sam said, there's something we'll call reactive customer service. So you're waiting for a problem to happen before you sort it out. If you know that people who buy a particular product usually have issues with setting it up, then for you to become a proactive customer service person, you create an FAQ, frequently asked questions, and then you put it on your app or on your website. And then you say, oh, you bought this product. Here's how, or you do an explainer video. Do an explainer video of how to use your product or how to go about navigating your app. So it's either you have FAQs, you have guidelines, or you have explainer videos, because you have realized over time that when people buy this product or they use this service, these are the typical issues or complaints that they would face. And then you take steps to counteract those problems or those issues before they start happening. So these are the things that form customer experience, not just waiting for people to complain to you. That's support. When they complain to you and you solve, that is still at the level of support. And then we also now talk about anticipating the needs of your customers. Trust me, if you had asked people what they wanted in terms of transportation, I'm sure many of us were really comfortable with walking to the bus stop and flagging down a yellow cab, haggling over the price, and then getting into the cab and going to where we're going to. That was a very perfect situation for us. But how many of us realize that it's really convenient to sit in the comfort of wherever you are, your home or your office, wherever you are, and there's an app where you can book a ride, and the person comes to your doorstep, picks you up, gives you estimates of fares, gives you traffic information. So it tells you that based on the traffic in this location or on this route at this time of the day, your fares might be slightly higher. How many of us realized that that was something we needed? So another thing about moving from just support to experience is that we now begin to anticipate our customers' needs. What do our customers really want? What is that thing we're going to add to the service or to the product that is going to really wow the customer? How do we under-promise and over-deliver?
What do you find interesting about the customer care sector? Because I see you're very animated when you talk about these things. So what interests you most when we talk about customers' experience?
Okay, so for me, it will be the diversity of interactions. The fact that if you're a customer experience person, on a good day, you come to work and you absolutely don't know what you're going to meet. So Mr. Sam mentioned difficult customers. You might come to work today and then you meet a difficult customer. The other day, everybody is just easy to please and it's easy peasy, lemony squeezy. So it's the diversity of interactions that makes it interesting for me. The fact that you are constantly problem solving. Yes, as a customer experience person, you're constantly problem solving, helping people solve problems, issues. So that makes it interesting for me because no 2 days are the same. As a customer, you can't say, oh, I'm coming to work today and this is what I'm going to expect. Absolutely not, because people are different. Individual differences will always come to play. Another thing that is interesting about this sector is that nothing is static. Like I told you, we've shifted away from customer service to customer experience. Who knows what it's going to be in another 2, 3, 4, 5 years? So there's always that room for continuous learning in this industry. Like the trends, especially with the digital ecosystem, and all of that, social media. So a lot is changing, and we have to keep up with the times and the changes that are upon us. Organizations too also need to try as much as possible to maintain a customer-centric culture. That's something that is interesting. It's easy to say, oh, we're a customer-centric organization, and then you come in and then you see there's so many things. In a customer-centric organization, everything, and I mean everything, should revolve around the customer. Every decision in that company should take the customer into consideration. And I'm sure you've heard the saying that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if you do not have a customer-centric culture, even your business strategy will go to blazes, trust me. So it's your culture that we will be looking at. So that's some of the things that I find interesting in this sector.
Fantastic. I just got another one. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. All right. So you mentioned difficult customers. Also, Sam talked about difficult customers. So I'd like to know, though, how do you handle difficult situations involving customers? I'd rather say it that way. I find it a little bit heavy calling them difficult customers. So how do you handle difficult situations involving customers?
Okay, so for me, I think that each of us is a customer of another business. So because we're all customers of different businesses, we know the way we like to be treated when we are patronizing another business. So I just tell people that you see the way you like to be treated, treat your customers that same way, because we're all customers of different businesses, whichever way you want to look at it. So the first thing, and it's one key skill that every person in the customer experience space needs to have. If you do not have it, you have to cultivate it. Is empathy. And basically, what is empathy? Putting yourself in the customer's shoes. If this was me, how would I feel? I'll give you an experience that someone shared with us at a training we had at one of these days. So they work for a broadband internet company, and imagine a customer who wants to write an international exam, has paid for it in dollars in these days of unstable dollars, has spent a couple of weeks, months, who knows, even years studying for this exam. And then it's time to take the exam. It's a computer-based exam. And the broadband internet is not just responding. And then this customer calls and begins to rant for the customer experience person, and she gets really angry, and all of that. And I said, take for instance that you are this person. For you, it's just another Tuesday in the office. Yeah, it's just another day on the job. But for this person, their entire life and career hangs in the balance of passing this one exam that they spent so much time, money, energy, and effort putting into it. So if you look at a difficult customer from that experience, from that perspective, you would know that when customers complain, it's not because they just like to complain. It's not because they're picking on you. It's because they truly this is truly a big issue for them, and you just have to put yourself in their shoes and see how you can help them to solve the problem, to meet their own deadlines, to also respect their timelines and whatever it is going on in their lives. Because I tell people that when a customer complains to you, especially if there's a difficult situation that needs to be solved, there are two things behind every complaint. There's the part of the complaint that relates to the service itself, and then there's the part of the complaint that is quite emotional. The part of the customer that wants you to listen to them, that wants you to understand them, that wants you to know where they're coming from, that needs you to know this is a pain point for me. So it's really annoying for the average customer that you're basically not seeing their pain. All you're seeing is just another day for you in the office, and you just want to do what needs to be done. And there's this thing that customer experience people do, oh, sorry about that. When you say sorry, you should mean it. It's not just a line in the script, especially for those of them in contact centers. Oh, sorry about that. I'm sorry you're not able to do that. Well, if you're saying sorry, make the sorry count. So for me, those are just some of the ways you can deal with customers in difficult situations. Put yourself in their shoes, listen to them, empathize with them, and offer solutions. Offer solutions. And then when you apologize on behalf of your organization, truly mean it.
Fantastic. Talking about offering solutions and empathy, those are very, very key things when it comes to keeping a customer happy. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want to give instances where I've been to a place where there were vulnerables, like very elderly women, pregnant women, standing, waiting for very long periods of time. Nobody attended to them. That is quite disheartening to me. And then personally, when I go to somewhere and I'm expecting to be served and I don't see a smiling face, it scares me. I give you an instance. Like yesterday, I went somewhere, and I was not just smiled at. I was also given a mug, and on it was written, Happy Customer Service Week. That made my day. So I'm going to ask you, what other ways do you employ to keep your customers happy?
I didn't get what you said.
Yeah, what other ways do you employ to keep your customers happy?
Oh, what other ways can we keep our customers happy?
Yes.
Under promise and over deliver.
Aha.
First of all, every business has a brand promise. So make sure you fulfill your brand promise. If you do not fulfill so if your brand promise is to ensure fast, safe, secure, whatever it is you're promising your customer, make sure that you deliver on that promise. And then we now say over deliver on that promise. That's a surefire way to make your customer happy. Trust me, satisfied customers are not really big on discounts. Loyal customers are not really big on discounts. For them, price, once a customer gets to that point where they are your loyal customers, pricing is no longer an issue for them, because they've realized over time that you consistently, that's the word, you consistently deliver on what you have promised them. If you promise them safe service, make sure it is safe all the time. If you promise them fast, make sure it is fast all the time. If you promise them prompt, make sure it is prompt. If you promise them, so whatever it is you're promising them, make sure that you're delivering and even over delivering on that. Yes, you can include some value-added services. Like you said, you got a mug yesterday. Beautiful. Loyalty programs are absolutely wonderful. Yes, once in a while you can reward your customers. It's customer service week, for instance. So this is a great opportunity to reward your customers. But the best way to satisfy your customers is to deliver what you said you were going to deliver, and then even add some more on top of that. We'll fall back to this magazine that says, treat other people the way you want to be treated. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. So because you're the customer of a particular, I'm going to give you an interesting story about an internal customer. So there's this guy, he's a loan officer for one of these loan companies. So his job basically is to go out and get people to sign up to these loans. So he typically takes their applications, but he's not the one who signs up on these ones. So when he gets the applications, he has to give it to someone in the back office. Now, this person in the back office apparently is not really big on, approving these loans as quickly as possible. Maybe the loan officer has promised the customer, maybe your loans will be approved in 24 hours. And then the person at the back office is taking 3 to 5 working days to approve a single loan. So obviously there's a service failure there. And the service failure arises from the fact that the internal customer is not properly serving the loan officer so that he can serve the external customer. So we find situations like this in organizations. So I tell people that your internal customer is the person whose work will suffer the most if you do not do your job correctly. That person's job is going to suffer. So we try to find a way to get this person to get his back office person to approve the loans as quickly as possible. It was a very funny situation, because he resorted to buying this person lunch in order to get him to be able to so that his job doesn't suffer. He's able to meet his own KPIs and also satisfy the external customer. So these are some of the issues that we find in organizations, which is why we focus a lot, or we talk a lot about training. We tell small businesses, big organizations, whatever it is, as long as you have people, as long as you have people who are front-facing staff facing customers, even if you say, we train them when they join the organization, you're not accounting for the wear and tear on these people who are the front-facing staff. So we recommend regular trainings of people in the service industry, in the service business, front-facing staff, regular trainings to counteract, to account for these wear and tear on service people. So for me, parting words would be, try to anticipate your customers' needs, meet them where they want you to be, prioritize your people, your customer service people. So we hear a lot of stories too of people who are in the service business facing customers, and they work in really under terrible conditions. So also prioritize the mental health of your staff, so that they can give the best service, because they're the ones who deliver the service. So if they're not in tip-top shape, how do you expect them to give their best to your customer?